Hello everyone, welcome to AdiTrade. Today we're going to be seeing the Nifty and Banknifty levels for 14 June. What I've opened here is the daily chart of Banknifty. Just wanted to show the candlestick that is formed in the daily chart. We have a nice bearish candle after a huge gap down today. And few days back, like couple of weeks back, somewhere in when we were over here on May 2nd last month, I did point out about this head and shoulder, right? That is, let me just redraw it again. This can be like an head and shoulder pattern, and the target of the head and shoulder is you measure this head and you place it where the breakdown happens. Exactly half of this will be the first target which got hit in these times. Now, since there's also a major price action support here, we can keep this target here. See, this shows that on the daily chart let me just get rid of this. On the daily chart, it shows that we kind of broke this, came retested the same trend line, the same neckline of the head and shoulder. If I remove this and we use this neckline, right, came retested the neckline and then we started dipping. So there is a possibility we might hit this head and shoulder target of 32,100 is one possibility in Banknifty on the daily chart. So before we go to the intraday levels and see what are the trades that happened, right, we'll just look at the Dow Jones chart. See, after the inflation news came in the US, this is the Dow Jones Industrial Average chart, and the market would have just opened right now at about 8 o'clock and it has dipped. See, all through the morning it was about 400, 500 and 600 points down. Now as soon as it has opened, it has dipped to minus 746. So I was just waiting for this US market to open. See, there is a possibility the Dow Jones can slip until this 29,033. If that is taken out, there is a small gap here, right, which was probably during November 2020. So this gap between this 28,550 and 29,000, obviously it's not in a day or two, probably a couple of weeks or a month, but there is a possibility that Dow Jones can come and hit this level before getting a nice bounce on the upside. So that is one view of the world market that is still being bearish. And not only Dow Jones, even the European markets, see how heavily down they are. So this is putting us at, we were only gapping down around 40 points as of now, but since the US market opened, the SGX Nifty has also gone in minus 93, almost 100 points. But this might increase overnight, because this Dow Jones the market has just opened, right? So even here there was a huge gap down and not sure until where it will come. Probably this is too far for the day, probably until S3 or get some retracement. So this might change overnight, but yeah, as of now it looks like we're going to get another gap down. Now we'll look at our intraday levels for tomorrow. See, before that, this is the trade that we attempted today. One of our targets got hit. See, initially as soon as we opened, right, we started dipping, correct? But there was no point in just entering right there, because we won't have a proper way of keeping stop loss, and also we were waiting for a pullback, and one of the pullback is the 20 EMA. We kind of got this pullback over here, and this nice pattern was formed, and a break of this came at this candle. If I just remove this, a break of this came at this candle, and the first target for us on the downside was this, that is 33,230, and the next target was 33,180. Our first target hit, and from there we got a bounce, probably some kind of a intraday short covering in the end. So we did not take the trade on the upside, but we attempted this trade on the downside with very little lots. See, whenever the VIX is going up and you're getting this huge gap downs, right, it's best to trade with a little bit to reduce the quantity, because we'll never know what kind of violent moves will come, because we'll never know when some kind of a profit booking will come and we can start moving up. And this is the same trade that I shared even in our CosmoFeed group. This is how I share my trades or anything that I find on the chart, with the green lines as the target. And apart from that, also we just keep sharing the general live market analysis in Banknifty, mostly Banknifty, and sometimes if something really interesting comes up in Nifty, even Nifty. Now I'm just going to an hourly chart because I need to show one more thing about the monthly CPR. Let's just keep only the monthly CPR, remove everything else. See, the star lines that you see is the monthly CPR, right? See, in my analysis video, when we broke down over here, I had a view that we will hit this monthly CPR, but who knew we are going to just get this gap down and achieve this, right? I thought we'll get a small gap down and then an intraday move until this monthly CPR, but as of it came in the gap down itself, and this is a nice strong break of this monthly CPR. Now the next level is, so there is a possibility the Bank Nifty might tomorrow try to come up, retest this level, and then probably get a dip again. If we get a dip, then since we are having extended pivots, right, we can make use of the weekly pivots. See, this week, I'll just turn off the monthly CPR. See, if this today's low, that is 33,210 breaks, the next target on the downside will be 32,960, almost 33,000. This is the weekly S3 of the weekly CPR. Then below that we have the monthly CPR S2, which is at 31,600. That is pretty far off, so we'll not look at this level as of now. There's a good chance we might even start moving higher from here if the global markets recover, right? That is, if we again come up the S1, like if we break the S1 from the downside, on the upper side we might probably come closer to the CPR. So this S2 of monthly CPR is too far, but this is one level that we can keep a track of if we start making new lower lows. Now coming to our intraday chart. See, these are the levels that I have for tomorrow, and the Bank Nifty, while coming down, right, there was a beautiful gap that was pending, that is between 33,600 and 33,370, that got filled, and exactly we have taken support over here, where previously we had taken support at 33,170, very close to that. So if this level breaks, the next level is here, that is, I'm going to move this line a little higher, that is today's low breaks, probably we'll see 33,000 for sure tomorrow or day after tomorrow. And even if 33,000 breaks, the next pretty good support is over here. I'm going to keep this in a little lighter shade, and then this is the hard stop level, that is 32,156, where recently we made a low. So these are the levels that I'll be using for tomorrow. It depends on how the US market closes and whether we get a huge gap down or see, in case the plan is, I'll just put on the tomorrow CPR. See, the plan is, if we get a small gap down within this previous day low or S1, right, then there might be a good chance we might come again, take support here. Some retracement might come because we have fallen continuously. We have fallen from where did this fall start? See, this fall started from 35,000, almost 36,000, and we have come until 33,100, right? So I'm not saying there'll be a very big retracement, but yeah, some kind of retracement might come. So we'll still be looking for shorts, but we can just remove this gap. Yeah, if we get a flat opening, right, probably we'll get some kind of a retracement until the CPR and then get a good move on the downside. So the best trade for tomorrow is short if this previous day low is broken. I don't think we'll get a gap up, but if we do, I don't think we'll get a gap up, but if we do, and if we come closer to this previous day high, right, it's definitely a short. Any gap up will just be sold into in this market, which I don't think will, a gap up will come easily, but we'll have to see how the US market does, whether it recovers or it's going to fall further. We'll be using these levels along with the CPR. Now see, from this level, if this level 33,000 breaks, the next good target is 32,400 and 32,160. But these are too far, right? We can't expect the market to come down so much in a day, in an intraday move. Maximum we can make use of is the CPR pivots. So these are the places. If we get a good shot somewhere in the morning, right, we will look to book our profits at any one of the CPR pivots. As of now, we are seeing a 90-point gap down, right? In SGX Nifty, 90 point will put us somewhere around 200 points. We might open close to this previous day low. See, today almost twice we have rejected this level, right? So the moment we open here, it's best to see if we get a good rejection on the downside. If the market starts falling, wait for a pullback, a retest of this level, and then probably short, or a pullback until the CPR, and then see if we can go on a short trade. So this is the view for Bank Nifty, and these are the levels that I'll be using for tomorrow and next week. To be prepared with any kind of a move that comes in the market, right? See, this is the gap that we had, gap down, right? For some reason, tomorrow or day after, if the US market recovers, if we come into this gap, there's a possibility of filling this gap until 34,300 and then probably having a dip again. But all these mark levels will be important. This is where we can probably take resistance on the upper side. So this is the Nifty 15-minute chart that I've opened. See, there was a gap that was being pending, which I had shared even in my analysis yesterday, between 15,840 and 15,900. We opened in the gap and kind of filled the gap and broke, and now we have created a huge gap on the upside in Nifty that is between almost like whatever 340 point gap down that we had today. So I can go ahead and remove this and place this gap over here. So we got a nice dip until this level of 15,660. I'm going to move this level a little higher because even previously we had taken support over here, right? If I just shift to a higher time frame, it will be visible, like say 1 hour. See, this line was there because of this price action. Exactly there we took support and we got a small bounce. If this level breaks, the next level of support is coming in only around this level. The next level of support is coming in only at 15,520. So we'll have to wait and see how the Nifty reacts as well. And I'm going to move this line over here. See, if Nifty recovers until 15,900, right, this level can act as a very good resistance. Previously also we have seen, and I've been explaining about the gaps, how they act. The gap boundaries act as support and resistance. So this boundary can act as a good resistance both in Nifty and Bank Nifty. There is a possibility if Bank Nifty also comes up, it will take some good resistance over here at 33,700 and then again dip. That possibility is there. So these are the levels for Nifty and Bank Nifty that I'll be using for tomorrow. Let's just hope we get a pretty flat opening and a good trade on the downside or upside. See, whenever we have this huge gap down, most likely this intraday trade buying options will be ruled out. It will be only the selling options that will work. See what happens, right? Why selling option is good whenever we get this huge gap down is the moment this candle is being formed, the call sellers at 33,800, 900, 700 will start selling, right? But we cannot buy a put, right? So after this fall, even in this kind of move, they wouldn't have seen loss in the PNL. But if we buy over here, like say go to a 15-minute chart, now say if we are going to get a thing that we're going to get a nice breakdown and start buying over here, the moment this retracement comes, we will be in loss. So for option buying, we will have to wait for some kind of a pullback and see if there's any structure is being formed and a break of structure, and only then probably enter. Like today we kind of identified this, what I had shown earlier, like a proper break of this trend line and then short. Only then for option buying it will work. It's very few times that the moment it gaps down it keeps falling. See, the first 5-minute candle itself took out. See, we cannot enter before 5 minutes, right? Obviously there's no point in entering before the first 5-minute candle is formed, at least the 15-minute. The first 5-minute candle itself took out 300 points after the gap down, and the first 15-minute candle, if we wait, has taken out almost 400 points. So in these times the only trade that you can do is just when this candle is forming, just enter and exit with as quick profits as possible. There's no point in staying in the trade because in first 5 minutes it will be really volatile and immediately you might get a pullback on the upside. So people who have entered here, today it fell, but sometimes, most of the times when we start falling, immediately there'll be a pullback. So there'll be a huge loss in your PNL if you had bought right at this bottom over here. So that's the reason it'll be a little difficult for option buying. The best thing to do is just wait for a nice pullback or a nice bearish pattern or a structure to form and then enter. So that's it, and that's it for today, and thank you for watching.